Everybody, we're going to get the computer sciences panel kicked off right now.
Hello, my name is Peter Shin. I'm a CEO and a founder of Canvas Labs. Here today, I will present the investment opportunity in open source software identification and management space. This is not the first. Most companies are actually not properly managing the open source software in their company, and that creates a lot of risk and challenges. A while ago, about 20 years ago, people used to write their own software and include a little bit of open source software package, just like a numerical optimization package or so. But these days, there are so many different open source packages, developers can just customize them and configure them and glue together a bunch of different open source packages. Now it's free to use, but this actually leads to IP and security risk for the companies. For example, the Oracle versus Google. Google copied 9 lines of Java code, and this led to, this March, they got a verdict saying that a $9 billion the fine. That's because they improperly used the open source software. They violated the license, open source license. Another aspect of the risk that's associated with OSS, open source software, is Equifax case. They used the open source software called the Apache Struts, and that has security holes. That led to hackers to steal half the United States population's date of birth and social security number. Also, they lost $243 million. That's both in many ways. And also when the Cisco bought Linksys, they thought they were buying home and small office software suite. But turns out that Linksys, when they developed their proprietary source code, it included open source software piece that had GPL license, which means it forces the entire product, their rest of their proprietary source code to be public. So these are really well-known companies, and they have run into these problems, and any other companies can run into these problems. So these issues led us to be here today. I was a computer science researcher at UC San Diego. I worked on big data and AI projects that are open source. And this type of open source software development experience led me to a job at Qualcomm. There, I worked in an open source software review group. One of my main responsibility was to survey and evaluate different tools out there. Turns out, none of these softwares really solve the whole problem, and it created a lot of drudgery work for companies. So, but these are the parts that can be automated. Using big data and AI, we can create open source review process that does not require as much human review. So we are building a tool that gives a deep scan of the source code text and identifies OSS license/IP issues and OSS security issues. We see that market is growing. OSS management space lies in between the application security and governance risk and compliance market. Both markets are growing at about 20%, over 20%, and we estimate that currently our market size is about $1 billion. And we're designing our product targeting these customers, the large companies who are already facing these open source software issues. Currently, Qualcomm has about 80 people working on this issue. SAP has about 60 people. And this type of open source software, the review process, companies usually deploy the on-premise solution because they don't want to ship out their own source code to third party to be reviewed. So our revenue model is annually recurring subscription model. And here's our competitive landscape. Black Duck is a dominant player in this market. We are starting here, but we hope to grow bigger than them. Currently the Black Duck is the biggest player, and there are some smaller companies that are covering different aspects of open source software management. Security is one, license is one. The other one is just the keeping track, the management is one. Ones that are circled in red are direct competitions, and according to the survey done by Black Duck, 60% of the companies do not have any OSS management policies. That means the market is untapped and it's growing. And but the issue, how do we grow bigger? How do we go about competing? Our competitive advantage is in our technology. We are using natural language processing, machine learning, and big data technology to accurately find what we are looking for. This actually is, we give out even reasons why they need to review. We're creating technology that mimics the human experts. The other companies are using text-based matching and filtering. That leads to a lot of false positive matches, which means it's not the cost of the tool that matters. It's the number of people, 80 people just doing drudgery work, that matters to the organizations. Using our approach, we are looking at this problem more fundamental mathematical and computer science perspective. And our prototype and preliminary data analysis shows that we can cut it down by a factor of, by 1 or 2 orders of magnitude. So this leads to shifting engineering time and analyst time to something more innovative. And we have market strategy. We can make an analogy with the video content subscription market. One can hire Netflix and Hulu, all at the same time. They provide similar content, but just like that, we can be the most performant player. We might not be able to cover all of the open source software. We're a small company, but we're going to be very efficient. We can save a lot of time, and we can resolve a lot of security and open source license issues. And then they can hire the Black Duck to cover the entire ground. We currently have one customer that we just signed the contract a couple of days ago, and we have another potential customer. We first built the prototype validating our approach, and we formed a company and to assemble the team and began the development. And we are releasing our first, we raised our initial funding through family and friends, and we are currently looking for investors who want to build a relationship to grow this company together. We are about to release the OSS license tool first this year, and in 2019 we want to release we're planning to release the OSS security tool. We have assembled a well-balanced team with over 50 years of experience in this space. As I mentioned, I was a computer science researcher at UCSD, and at Qualcomm, one of my main responsibilities was in this space. And I built software products that's very robust, that worked in nuclear reactors and lakes and oceans all across in the environment. Chunan's our engineering lead. He has a PhD in computer science with the focus on big data and distributed computing. And Gio is our finance guy who has worked in this strategy and business development over the last 10 years. And he closed 5 corporate VC deals so far. And we have an advisor and a data engineer and data scientist. Gio and I are available over the break and throughout the cocktail hours. So if you have any questions, please come up and ask us. Do you have any questions?